Hi Dance Magazine readers, welcome back to Dance Magazine's YouTube channel. My name is Haley Hilton and this is Dancer Diary, where I'm chronicling my life as a dancer in New York City. Today we are going to answer a Q&A to celebrate 2 years of the Dancer Diary column, formerly Begin Again. I can't believe it's been this long. I'm so excited to chat and dig into your questions that you sent on social media. So get ready with me while we chat about life as a dancer in New York. Okay, so the first question is, how did you get the opportunity to write the Dancer Diary column / vlog? That is a great question. When I was in college, I studied journalism because I was sick, I couldn't dance, and so I focused on a different skill set of mine. And when I neared graduation, I applied for an internship to Dance Spirit because it was a magazine I'd read my whole life. And I did an internship there that summer. It was great, and then I got hired on to write for Dance Teacher, and then over time I became a feature writer for them. I was writing some features for Dance Magazine in 2021, and I just kept having this idea. Everyone else was coming out of COVID. They hadn't been dancing for a long time either, and I just couldn't get it out of my head, the similarities between me coming back to dance with a new body in an industry I don't recognize, and everyone else kind of doing the same because they hadn't been dancing for a long time either. And I don't know, it just kept coming back to my head that it would be really interesting to document my process, and that it might be relatable to other people as well. Even if even outside of COVID things, like people coming back from injury and pregnancy, I thought, like, I would have loved to have someone's journey that I could watch to, like, kind of answer some of my questions along the way, or even, like, just kind of maybe have a little bit of a pathway that I could follow. And so I thought, why don't I do that for someone else? So it was really scary. I still remember, I had to be so brave. I was on a call with the editor-in-chief of Dance Magazine at the time, Jenny Stahl. She's so fabulous. Actually, I think she changed her name since then. I think it's Jenny Heimlich now. But at the time it was Jenny Stahl, and she was the editor-in-chief of Dance Magazine. And we had a meeting about something else. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I just have to ask you this question. I have this idea that I want to pitch to you. And I was like kind of shaking. I was nervous because it's a bold proposition. It's like a brave thing to be like, I feel like I might have something interesting to share. I myself, typically I interview dancers who have interesting things to share and kind of translate that for the broader public. But this time this is going to be coming from my own mouth, and I was nervous to see what she'd think. And I even was like, you know what? We can test it out. What we can do, this is my idea. I want to write this column, and I can do a couple for you month to month, and I'll even do it for free, and we can like see how it goes. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but if you do like it, we can keep going, and it can be like a regular column. And the first thing she said was, first of all, Haley, never offer your work for free. Like, just never do that. Advice from someone who's been in the industry a little bit longer. Don't do that. But then she was also like, I love this idea. I think this is a great idea. I think it could work for our readers. I think it could be helpful. Let's do it. And she took a chance on me, which made me so happy, because this has been just the most beautiful experience for me to share this. And it's also helped push and propel me forward in my dancing that, like, I can't describe. Thank you forever, Jenny. You are amazing. So yeah, that was how that got started. I was just bold and brave and little delusional, and it worked out. So the next time you have an idea that feels a little delusional, just ask. Never hurts to ask. That's what my mom always says. It used to drive me crazy when I was younger, and now that I'm older, I'm like, she was right. The next question is, what kind of training regimen did I have coming back? And this is also a great question. So because I was coming back from illness, and honestly, I would recommend this if you're coming back from injury, from anything, I took it really slow. While I was sick, there would be moments where I would think maybe my health had improved a little bit, and I would jump into wanting to dance, and I would always immediately crash, and I didn't want that to happen this time. So instead, I took it really slow, and it was helpful because it was during COVID that I first started, easing back in, and so no one was in person, so I didn't have the pressure of like, the last time I was in a class, I had been 18 and dancing professionally and like going crazy on the dance floor, and I didn't want to go into a class and feel the pressure to like be back to where I was before, because I wouldn't be. My body was different. I hadn't been training in all that time, in 9 years. And so I promised myself that I would take it slow. And so I started with Turn It Out with Tyler classes on Instagram. And then I did CLI classes, and all in my apartment. So I was constrained by space, which meant that I couldn't like go too hard. And so I didn't go backwards. I started just doing once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week. And then I expanded it to going to my church. They have a gymnasium where I would go and start taking classes like more full out. So that would have been 5 months of doing slowly from my apartment to the church. And then in August of 2021, I took my very first in-person dance class. It was Nancy Bielski. What a class to jump into. Her class is so hard. But I, again, just gave myself permission, like, you know, we're just gonna take it slow. Over like the next few months, from like August to probably December, I built up from like 1 in-person class all the way up to now. I'm like 4 to 5 days in class a week. But there were injuries along the way if I pushed myself too hard, so I had to have to slow down. And I feel like a really important training regimen that I had was physical therapy. When I got hurt, they taught me how to actually like strengthen my body to support the things that I was doing. Don't just jump back in. That was a mistake that I made that I wish I didn't do. Anyway, and walking my dog was part of it. I feel like because I've been sick, I'm not a gym girly, just because with my health, I just can't push myself too hard, and dance is already pushing myself really hard. So the strength training that I do outside of that is very measured and simple and comes from physical therapy. And I feel like it's been really helpful for me. So yeah, that was my training process getting back into it. The next question is, did you experience imposter syndrome and how did you work through it? That is a very good question. Yes, I did. Honestly, I don't know how. I don't know if you can take time off of dance and come back and not feel some of that imposter syndrome. I felt like there was a point in the beginning where I felt like I wanted to like explain. I'd like thank the teacher and be like, it's been 9 years off. Like I feel like I have to explain this. But then I stopped because they hadn't been noticing. Like most of them were like, I would have never known. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to let that define me. I can just be a dancer here in New York auditioning, even though especially at the beginning it was hard. The question about how did I get through it is I just remembered like the dancer that I was before. I was confident and self-assured, and a lot of that comes with being 18 and like not facing that much rejection yet, as we all do as life goes on. But I would think back to that girl and who I was and that confidence that I had, and remember that she's still inside me. And also, you know, despite having these years off, I still had 16 years of classical training, of experience, and also I was putting in the work now to come back. So I really was deserving. You know that quote that Renee Rapp says, like they ask her what gives her the confidence to do something or other, and she says delusion. You know, that's just a healthy dose of delusion. It'll help you get you far. And then I also, like, I watched myself dance and I felt like proud of myself and how far I'd come, and I looked back at how far I'd come and I decided, why not me? There was a story that I wrote where it was like, someone's gonna do it. Someone's gonna go and book that job and live that dream. It might as well be me. So that's how I pushed through the imposter syndrome, is just a little bit of delusion, therapy, and just reminding myself that why not me? The next question is, how did you find joy before you knew you'd be healed? And this is a great question because that was really, really hard for a long time. I remember when I met my husband, we talked about that, like when we were dating, there's a risk like I might not ever get better. Are you okay with that? Of course, he was wonderful and great about it. I maintained hope that it wouldn't be forever. That hope kept up the fight. It kept me in treatment. It's really hard to go through treatment, and there were times where I wanted to give up and just succumb to my illness. But that hope of believing like someday I could get better, I want to fight for that. Like I was so young. I had so much life ahead of me. I couldn't fathom a life of dealing with that kind of pain and difficulty. And so I just kept that fire inside of me. But then I also left space for, if I never get better, what can I do with my life where I'll look back and it was, you know, still a good life. I moved to New York sick and it was really hard, but I was here and I got to enjoy Manhattan and walk outside and see all these amazing people, and everyone was chasing a dream, and I was making friends, and I met my husband, and I got to go to Broadway shows on a Thursday night. Or even if it wasn't that, like, the leaves changed colors in the fall and they were beautiful. I worked really hard to find the small things in life that brought me joy. And I feel like that really helped me cope and show me that, like, even when you're sick, even when everything is so hard and so awful, like, there is still good. Outside of that, I would say my faith and religion, my family, my friends, my husband, they gave me a lot of comfort. And then also I tried to find purpose in it. I worked really hard to try and do what I could to grow from it. If I was gonna have to go through it, like, let there be something good on the other side. I don't know if that makes sense. And the next question is, what has been the most challenging part of your journey since getting back to dance? I feel like there have been a few things that have been really hard. It's hard for me to just pick one. I had this toe injury that I had to deal with when I first came back. That was infuriating because it was like, come on, I had to take all of this time off. I don't want to take any more time off. Another thing that has been really hard is, like, because I'm coming back with 10 years off and I'm a little bit older, there are a lot of things that I would have done in my late teens and early 20s that I wasn't able to do, that would build up a foundation for now that would really help me. Like having regional theater experience and doing tours. It is hard to not have some of those things backing me up. You know, a lot of the people my age have done all of that, and it's easy to, like, compare and be like, oh man, like, who knows, would I be at that same position had I had all those years before? And it's hard not to wish that things had been different. But maybe it would have been horrible. Maybe if I had been in my late teens and 20s and done all those things, maybe those would have been horrible. So let's just hope that things worked out the way they were supposed to, I guess. Or at least we will look for the good in the way that it turned out. Oh, bane of my existence is going to ECCs as a non-union person. I've decided I'm done with that. I can't do it again. Last week I went to 4, and between me and my husband, we did the early mornings, and I was exhausted, and I only got seen for 1. And that 1 was great, but I'm not gonna do ECCs until I join the union. I know I already said that before, but I was like, oh, but Wicked's here. Oh, but Moulin Rouge is here. But no, hard and fast rule. Cannot do it until I join the union. The next question is, what has been the best part about pursuing a dance career? It's been healing a part of my heart that had been broken for so long. To get to do this for little baby Haley that dreamed of this one day. Like, my whole life I dreamed of this, and to be able to be in the room, it's just the best feeling. To have fought back, to, like, look back up the mountain and to see what I've done since being so sick. Like, I am filled with a lot of proud feelings and gratitude to my body and to myself for being determined and to getting myself back here. Like, that's just such an incredible feeling. Also loved the people that I've got to meet. Oh my gosh, the dance industry is so cool. And when you're in that classroom at the end of class and everyone's drumming on the floor, and you feel that just, like, swell of energy and gratitude to be in that space. The teachers I've been able to work with, like, I feel like it's just been such a gift. And someone asked what's my favorite part about being a dancer in New York City. And for New York City specifically, I just love, like, when you're in Steps on Broadway and you're like at the bar doing your tendus, holding a balance, and you're looking out these big, beautiful windows, and you see the taxis going by, and on the sign at the Beacon, it says that, you know, Jerry Seinfeld's performing that night, and everyone's running from somewhere cool, and then everyone's gonna go somewhere cool. And in that classroom that day, you have Sarah Lane and James Whiteside, and you have, like, just, like, so many talented people to glean from, and, like, it's just so rich with talent and experiences and things that you dreamed about since you were a little kid. Like, New York is just the coolest place ever. The next question is, who inspires you most? And oh my goodness, I feel like writing for Dance Magazine is so cool because I have the honor of speaking to literal legends in the industry. And man, there have been so many people who've inspired me. I feel like some of the interviews that I've done that have really stuck with me is I really loved talking with Devin Tusher. She's just such a light, and she talked about doing dance for the joy and how her whole life her parents set this expectation for her that she should only dance until it's not fun for her anymore. And now she's at the top of her game as a professional, and she said that she's given herself that same license. And so when you see her on stage, you know, like, this is fun for her. She's doing this because she loves it, and that just like gives her this extra magnetism. That really inspired me. There was an interview I did with Mia Michaels where she talked about burnt bridges and like overcoming past mistakes. I think that's like really commendable. I really admired how she did that. Go read that article. It's from years ago, but it was a really cool conversation that I was really impressed with her vulnerability. Billy Griffin and Al Blackstone in particular really inspire me with the energy that they bring into a room that they're teaching in. They're just so full of joy and light, and they want dancers to love themselves. Gosh, I could go on forever and ever. I would say my first, one of my first dance teachers, her name was Heather Webb. She's the person who taught me to love dance. She loved dance with her whole heart, and it was important to her, and the way that she was able to tell stories through it. She was like a really good choreographer, and I loved her work and the energy that she brought to it, and it taught me to do that too. Like, I don't think I would be as in love with dance, and I don't think I would have stuck with it through illness and had the determination to come back had she not lit that fire in me. I guess this is more gratitude, but gratitude for my husband and gratitude for my family and friends. And my mom inspires me. She had to watch me go through something so horrible, but she stuck by me. And I think watching me go back to dance is also scary. You know, like, there's a high risk of emotional distress. That's scary, and my mom has been brave with me, and you know, she could be like, just don't do it, just do something else, but instead she wants it for me too, and that's inspiring to me. The next question is, what has been the most rewarding part of coming back to dance? Through this vlog and column, I have had a lot of people come to me telling me about their own journeys back to dance, and they've let me know that watching me go through this has been helpful to them, and that is so rewarding. Other thing is, I'm a teacher, and it's been rewarding to be able to share my story with my dancers. Lessons I'm learning from coming back to dance that I'm able to pass to the next generation. It's really cool. It's really cool. I love how dance is like a family tree where like someone gives it to you and you give it to the next person, and it's just awesome. The last question is, what advice would I give to dancers who want to start a career in New York City? Get to class, enjoy class, build your community, because we're all going through it together. Everyone's going through their hard stuff, and it's really helpful to be able to laugh about it and talk through it with people and make friends. I would say build your team, you know, get a voice teacher that you really like, talk with experts who are rooting for you and supporting you, that you can go to when you need help. You know, every time I have an audition, I have an acting coach that I talk to, I have a voice teacher that I talk to, I have dance teachers I talk to that help me feel my most brave and my best self. I would say create healthy boundaries with yourself. Don't burn out. We dance because we love it, because it brings us joy. And if it's not bringing us joy, shift how you're doing. Shift your approach so that it can bring you joy. And lastly, I would say journal. You know, who knows how long we will get this season of life. You know, you never know what will happen. I got sick. There were 9 years where I couldn't do it. It could have been forever. So journal and document and soak up and remember and enjoy every minute that you get to do it. Love it as much as you can, for as long as you can. Never stop loving it, because that's what you get to do. That's what you have to do when you get to live your dreams. And that's what I'm trying to do now. And yeah, those are all the questions that I'm gonna answer today. Thank you so much for sending them in. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all of my vlogs and support. It truly, truly means the world to me. I'm so grateful to share this journey with you and keep sharing your journeys with me. And yeah, come back next month to see what we're chatting about here at the Dancer Diary column. Mwah.